hope tonight for people in Wisconsin hoping to wipe their criminal records clean.
Well, News 3 now investigates the process that really hasn't been used in our state in nearly a decade, one that can only come from the governor's office. Schmidt sat down for a one-on-one interview with Governor Tony Evers and explains his plans to issue pardons.
I'm suffering, and I really need help. Someone to listen to my story.
Derek McCann's story is one filled with searching for a job.
Weekly.
For his kids, who he hasn't seen in 8 years.
I missed their whole life because of this.
And for a place to live, as right now this is all he has.
And that's the reason why, I'm kind of in tears because, I've been fighting for my life for years.
But mostly he's fighting and searching for redemption.
I'm a man that deserves a second chance.
Derek is open about his past with the understanding that this is not who he is. He pleaded no contest to a felony, second-degree recklessly endangering safety. Court records show a friend of his girlfriend at the time says he tried to strangle her. It happened in 2004 when Derek was 19.
I just got caught up with some wrong people at a wrong age.
He says he took a plea deal because he didn't understand the severity of a felony. To this day, he regrets that he didn't go to trial.
And I'm now 33, and that still haunts me.
But now that is what keeps him going.
Dear Governor Tony Evers.
And propels him into action.
My name is Derek D. McCann.
Turning to one of the only people who can wipe his slate clean.
I'm asking to have my felony in Wisconsin expunged in Wisconsin.
And like Derek,
first of all, I believe in redemption.
Governor Tony Evers says he knows the importance of forgiveness too.
Some people do some bad things, and if they've straightened their life out, we have to be willing to give them a second chance. So I think there's a moral issue here.
When Evers took office in January, he assumed the constitutional authority to grant second chances in 3 forms.
Wherever the governor thinks that justice is served, he can grant that pardon or clemency or reprieve.
UW law professor Keith Finley explains that reprieves usually only happen in death penalty cases, which Wisconsin doesn't have. Clemency alters a crime's punishment. That leaves pardons.
An act of grace is what they call it in the law. It's an act of forgiveness.
He says pardons are often considered the fail-safe in the legal system. But breaking tradition from previous state leaders, Evers' predecessor, former Governor Scott Walker, didn't issue any over his 2 terms.
After 8 years of complete inaction and unresponsiveness to all of a sudden turn the spigot back on, there's bound to be a lot of pent-up demand.
So you are giving a lot of people hope by opening up this conversation. Is that your intention?
Absolutely. And not having hope when you should have hope is the wrong thing for the state of Wisconsin to stand for.
Walker never appointed anyone to the pardon board, but that didn't mean the inquiries didn't pour in. Requests that are now coming to Evers' office, more than 1,000 since January of this year.
So your staff told me that this is actually your office's most contacted topic. Does that surprise you?
Not at all. It was that during the campaign. I hear it everywhere.
Step 1 for Evers will be putting together his pardon advisory board, which he hopes to have up and running by summer. With about 15 people total, the board will likely include victims or relatives of victims. He says his decision will not necessarily be about trying to distinguish whether someone is innocent.
I think most people are people that have come to reconcile themselves with what they did wrong, and want to make it the best of their lives going forward, and we want them to be part of our society.
That is why letters, emails, and phone calls continue to pour into the governor's office.
I have wrote my elected officials, even Scott Walker, past governor of Wisconsin, never got a reply.
As people like Derek plead their cases.
I need someone to listen to my story. Nobody ever did.
Once Evers' team puts together the formal application,
I plan on submitting it, and I'm looking forward to a new future.
Derek plans to be first in line.
I'm really looking forward to someone really new eyes looking at my case.
And he's hoping that will bring what he's been seeking all along.
My story going to inspire others to never give up.
Rose Schmidt, News 3 Now.
And there are other ways to overturn criminal convictions, but Finley says offenders do not have a right to a free lawyer in those cases.
And they are difficult to defend yourself because there are so many hurdles in place that make it difficult to reopen those old cases. Really interesting.
It really is.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens in the months ahead. All right, let's go.